this is quite possibly, and I'm going to not be shy about it, this is quite possibly the album of the year so far. No one really captures the essence of old school rock music like Showtaro Morikubo does. Anthos' music is pleasing, what more can I say? Welcome to Monthly Review, and this time around we are going to talk about Q2, which is to say April, May and June. So this was a big trimester, and we are going to talk about all the music, or at least most of the music that impressed me in these 3 months. This is going to be a condensed episode, so there is not going to be any section about the music in the horizon, at least in my opinion, because it makes no sense for me to anticipate music in May, because May is already behind us. Same thing for June, so I'm going to skip that section, and I'm going to skip as well the section about my music recommendations so that I can give you time to talk about the music that you found most interesting in the 3 months, because I know that I have some comments by you. So, welcome to this episode of Monthly Review. I'm going to start with the releases from April. So, when it comes to the best of April, we had a double release by Yuma Uchida, which was kind of exciting, and I was really interested about how Heartache and Singularist would work in tandem, because they were released in the same day, and I was thinking maybe they are a two-parter in some way, they complement each other, but it is slightly different from what I was expecting. So, what we have first on Heartache is a really interesting and fun release. I feel that out of the two that dropped in the same month, that's the weakest. Singularist for me is at least much more exciting in comparison, but it is much more rock driven, so you will assume that me, a rock fan, would enjoy that more than Heartache. But Heartache was still kind of fun, especially the title track. I have something to say, which is kind of interesting, because when I saw the cover, it looked kind of fluffy, laid back, but what we have in Heartache is not like that. So not the title, not even the cover, they didn't prepare me for what we have in Heartache, which is a good thing, I feel. By the end of it all, I was surprised by everything that we got in there. I reviewed the songs today because I didn't have much time to prepare anything for the last couple of months, so I do have a couple of impressions here. So first of all, most of you know about Chemistry. The song was premiered last year. It was the theme song for the Versus live shows that Yuma Uchida held in Japan. So that song is kind of exciting. It has a sort of a stadium rock vibe at the start, as it is a song that demands people to sing along. And I feel that it was perfectly created for people to have fun at the shows, and I can understand why. And I feel that this song also will work pretty much well with another person, which is the Versus part, to perform alongside him. The song is exciting and it's a ton of fun. Also, we have, and let me check my notes, Atelier. Atelier, I feel the song is made for you, fans of dance music. If you enjoy a really heavy bass-driven song, this is the thing for you, really. The song caught me a bit by surprise, but then again, Yuma Uchida's, or at least let's say, a part of the charm that Yuma Uchida has as a solo artist is how awesome he is as a dancer on stage. So I feel that this kind of performance and this song is going to work so well. So I'm kind of excited about the prospect of seeing him perform this song. But it wasn't my favorite in this release. By far my favorite was the title track, Heartache, and I had a ton of fun with this song, really, honestly. It felt like listening to a song by Shido, if you know. They are creating songs in some capacity for Phantom Iris from Argonavis franchise, and they are well known for lending songs to anime series, and they're a renowned J-rock band with a ton of acid jazz influences to their sound. I found that this was what Heartache actually captured really well, was that vibe, that acid jazz vibe. It is fun, funky, it is laid back and really fun to listen to without being overwhelming. One thing that Yuma Uchida usually has in his music is a ton of energy, This song tones down a little bit the energy and cranks up the bass so that you can have those relaxing, deep bass lines going on and relaxing you while you are listening to the song, which is really awesome. And it shows a completely different side to Yuma Uchida as an artist, because he usually is really all about his energy, high tempo and intensity, even with rock and other music genres that he explores as a solo artist. In this case, I feel that Heartache is actually the song that stands out the most to me. So this, of course, was my take on Heartache. I would say go check it if you want to actually see the differences that you are going to find in Singularist when you come from this single to the other one. Because the next one that we are going to talk about is, of course, Singularist. And this one was completely different. Once again, I looked at the cover and I thought, well, it looks like we have guitars and amps behind him. Please let the CD have rock music. And of course, it delivered. And we have rock music in here. Singularist is quite possibly one of the most exciting rock songs that he has in his repertoire. So yeah, I was quite into this CD as soon as it started. So that's an amazing thing. The main riff I enjoy a whole lot, so if you pay close attention to the guitars, the main guitar riff is unbelievably good. There's a ton of drama, which I was not expecting when I was listening to the song itself. But it fits really well with the concept, and it fits really well with the rest of the singles, so do give it a listen if you can. Then we have Haru no Yokaze. Wow! I feel that this is a song that goes in the same line as Idea. If you know about Idea, that's the really short, really brief song that he has that is in an acid jazz vibe from his previous album, and it's unbelievably good. I was wishing that he would return to that sound, and thankfully he went to explore that sound yet again in Haru no Yokaze, and it's so good. It was something that I was needing because I like that jazzy, loungy sound. You know how I am when it comes to jazzy and loungy songs, and this one really hits the spot for me in terms of it has the relaxing vibes, it has that cinematic vibe in which you feel like you are watching a sunset in late summer or late spring when it is already getting a bit warmer and you can go to the beach. So it is really awesome. I was really feeling those vibes and having a ton of fun with the song. Honestly, I feel it is the best song in that CD in specific, and quite possibly one of the best songs by Yuma Uchida in the last couple of years. That's a big statement, perhaps, but for me at least the song is one of the standout in this release, and by far one of the best songs so far in 2025. Then we have Color Your Life. Usually I'm not too big on those songs that are really made to put a smile on the faces of their fans, because usually those songs are quite simplistic, the message is pretty basic, it conveys well the message that they want to convey, but the songs are usually pretty basic and are usually all about bringing the fans to sing along, and they are usually very cutesy, and I'm not into cutesy music. Perhaps some of you are, but I'm not into really cutesy music. That's not really my thing. So I was dreading a little bit going to Color Your Life, but I was pleasantly surprised. So he actually delivered something really awesome here. The song will make you, of course, want to sing along. It feels like a song that you would perform by the end of the show, so it makes sense, once again, and it fits really well with the end of the single. Once again, it is really a neat way to wrap up a single after so much energy, and actually you start with a ton of energy, you go for those loungy vibes, and then you end up in this section that feels more like you are in a cozy jazz bar. And I love this because it is quite intimate. The vibe is not overwhelming if you are listening to this song. You can actually chill to this song. And it is a sort of you are chilling to this song and singing along. So it feels really good when you are listening to it. So all in all, I feel that Singularist was the song that really impressed me the most. Yuma Uchida really exceeded himself when it comes to this single. By far the best this year, but we don't know if he's going to release more music this year, so surprise me, Yuma, surprise me, because so far I've been pleasantly surprised with what you've released so far this year. One thing that I really noted on the review is that in these two singles you can see all the sides that there are to Yuma Uchida so far as a solo artist. You have let's say the trademark R&B sound that he has since the start. He really excels when it comes to R&B music. So you have that in there, but you also have the really neat rock sound that he brings at times, and it's not that sound that you would assume, oh, it's a pop artist trying to sound edgy because they need to have a rock song just to sound masculine or edgy or aggressive. No, he actually fits the genre, and whenever he performs the music, he's actually almost like a rocker himself if he did that full time instead of being an R&B pop artist. So it fits well, it sounds well, and he really excels at that. So I was thoroughly excited when I saw that rock music was here, and it shows that side that Yuma Uchida has at times, which is a tad more aggressive, a tad more intense, without being dance heavy or really, let's say, EDM heavy, even if not dance driven. And also we have this slightly mature sound that he has been bringing in the last couple of releases, which it's almost like acid jazz, because he is not bringing a full-on pure jazz sound, because that would alienate a ton of fans, but he's bringing a mixture of pop and rock with jazz, and it works pretty well, which is to say he's bringing acid jazz or jazz pop, let's say, which is more welcoming for newcomers who may not be as familiar with jazz music or may not even like jazz music. But it brings the good vibes, it brings the relaxing vibes of jazz into the mix, and the unpredictability and fun of jazz music into the mix. And all in all, he brings all those music genres, and then he shows as well that he can fit whichever music genre he wants when it comes on the vocal end, because he's that talented of a singer, and there's no doubts whatsoever when it comes to his talents as a singer. So he continues to show how amazing he is, and that he can further improve as a singer, even if he's already an amazing singer at the moment. So quite excited to see what he brings next, honestly, and I was pleasantly surprised with Singularist more so than Heartache, which is a pity, because I felt that I was going to enjoy more Heartache than Singularist, but color me surprised, I actually enjoyed more the second single. So yeah, this was all about Yuma Uchida's CDs, and then I have a third entry, and the third entry is Anthos with Species. I'm going to be honest, I was not the biggest fan of Species, not the first track, and especially not the first track, and the second track is okay, but it's not up to the standard that they were releasing up until now, I feel. Q was an amazing release, which dropped early in the year, and that was so disruptive and so unique that everything that has dropped since then sounds a tad weird in comparison, while they are still actually doing everything that we're doing before. But still, I'm trying to compare that with the early release this year, and nothing really compares when it comes to the quality of Q. That release was really unique, and you will agree with me, it's really, really unique as an entry. Even in their repertoire, but even outside of that, it is quite unique. But when it comes to Species, I was not the fan of Anthocarpus. I feel that this song missed the mark for me. The chorus, I didn't click with it, no matter how many times I listened to it, so yeah, that's a pass for me. The song as a whole, when it comes to the vocals, it's amazing, but I didn't really click with the song itself, which is a pity. I usually click with Anthos' songs, but this one, I can listen to it, but it's not the type of song that I feel I want to repeat and listen in a loop like I do with every single other song that they have. So this one really fell a little bit short for me in comparison with the other songs. Then By Night. By Night is I would say it brings that dreamy vibe that they had when they debuted, but with a sort of a futuristic undertone, which is fun, but still I didn't understand the progression with this song. It's fairly heavy dance driven. One thing that I've noticed in the Human or Doll series is that the songs are getting progressively more EDM than ever before, which their sound was already EDM to begin with, but they are getting even more dance driven than before. which is a direction, a valid one. But for me, it's missing a bit of the focus on the vocals that they used to have. And I feel that one of the big highlights that Anthos has is that amazing lineup on the vocal end, which I feel should be highlighted more so than the instrumental. So while I enjoyed By Night, which I gave it full marks, still I feel that it lacked something there for me to actually warrant me wanting to listen to that song yet again and again and again. Same thing with Anthocarpus. So those two songs fell a bit short for me. The single as a whole, Species, didn't really click with me. Hopefully the next one will, and I will let you know because I've already reviewed it. But since we are talking about April, yeah, this was the single that I was most excited for. Curiously enough, this was the single that I enjoyed the least out of the 3 that I reviewed this month. So you will agree with me, for example, that B-side tracks in Anthos' releases are usually the best songs. This time around it was the same. The B-side track, By Night, is actually the best song in the release. But still, something was lacking there. Especially if you compare with Q. Q was that amazing, you know. So yeah, I feel that something was lacking there, but it is something really minimal, and maybe it is just my impressions here. But then again, I was away from seiyuu music for quite a while, and usually when I'm away for quite a while, music tends to hit differently. This one hit a bit differently to me, so yeah. Next, we have May. But I was curious and I wanted to return to Showtaro Morikubo's music, and I went back to Breathing, which is the new single that dropped recently, let's say. It dropped in May. And I feel that this single was a bit weird as a whole just because of 2 things. Why bring old songs into a new single? They were previously released a couple of CDs ago. But at the same time, I love those 2 songs, so I'm not going to complain, but still, it is a single, 3 songs, and only 1 song is new. I don't understand why. So, that's the big problem that I have here with this single. Other than that, Breathing, amazing song. I was missing that electronic rock with dark guitar riffs, really going low on the scale, and that sort of weird mix of the song sounds a bit ethereal but eerie at the same time, and it has tons of urgency and drama at the same time. I feel that Showtaro Morikubo continues to excel at that, and even when I listen to other seiyuu artists, they usually, especially the ones embracing rock music, no one really captures the essence of old school rock music like Showtaro Morikubo does. And I wanted to revisit his music in some capacity. I noticed that he dropped a single, which I didn't cover on the website, so apologies. But yeah, I found that he released a new single, so I went there to check, and Breathing is unbelievably good. It's a tad different from usual, but still within the same vibe, mixing the electronic rock with the really heavy guitar stuff that he likes to do. It has an unbelievably good solo, which is yet again one thing that I love a whole lot. And yeah, when it comes to the vocal end, he delivers time and time again. I was particularly fond, and I wrote in my review that I like that full-on crescendo that he does by the end of the song, taking the song to the climax. I found that pretty much one of the things the most enjoyable within that song. But still, overall, really fun. Then we have, of course, Truth. That's the best song that he has, by far. I have a couple of songs that I like from Rin, one of his earlier CDs, 2005, 2008, I don't remember right now when it was released. Rin is my favorite CD by Showtaro Morikubo. I love a ton of songs in there, but this one, Truth, has become my favorite song as soon as it was released a couple of years ago. It is a headbanger's choice, really. You are going to headbang to this song as soon as it starts. The guitar riffs are heavy, dirty, violent. I like that aggression on the guitar end, and then the vocals are sort of eerie, uncanny. It's really a fun song, but with a really dangerous underlying eerie vibe to it that I like a lot. You don't see that too much or at all when it comes to rock artists among male seiyuu. So this one really hit the spot for me, and listening to it again a couple of years later, it still holds itself pretty well. You could say that that song was released this year for the very first time, and I wouldn't even complain and say that it sounds dated, because it doesn't sound dated at all. Once again, a shredding rock song. So if you like really heavy stuff, Showtaro Morikubo knows how to deliver that. And also, we wrap up with Canvas, and the song is quite possibly one of the best rock ballads by a male seiyuu artist. Period. I'm not going to discuss this because this song is really beautiful, and I like when these ballads have that old school, almost Guns N' Roses vibe to itself. So yeah, that's a sort of a November rain sort of vibe in Canvas, and I really like the song a whole lot. So yeah. This was the standout release for me in May. I know that there was Daisuke Ono as well there. Anthos released as well a single from the anime series, but the single is not available on Ototoy, and at least the full version at the time of recording. And also it's not available on streaming platforms, so I cannot review that song until it is released, so I will have to wait. I arrived pretty late to that song, but still the song is not available, so thankfully I didn't arrive late, let's say. That's a loophole, okay? So yeah, I feel this is all about the May releases. June was an amazing month. You can agree with me here. I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, you perhaps will know. We are going to talk about Makoto Furukawa's Catch Me If You Can. And this is quite possibly, and I'm going to not be shy about it, this is quite possibly the album of the year so far, to me. I know that I have yet to listen to other albums, and we are already in July, so we have Shuichiba's album as well, we have Gakuto Kajibara's CD as well. We may have other CDs that may become contenders for Best Album of the Year, but so far, my pick is Makoto Furukawa's Catch Me If You Can. If you listen to this album, you will notice that there are a ton of differences going on in here when it comes to the vocal end. Makoto Furukawa actually ensured that he is now in full control of his vibrato, so you no longer have his vibrato appearing all over the place. Of course, he populates the song with a little bit of vibrato because it adds a really nice flair to his performances, and it adds a little bit of dimension to what he's performing to not sound too flat all the time, or too standard all the time. So he adds that as a flourish to his performances. And he's using that in a smarter way, I feel. At the same time, he has been developing that falsetto that I've talked about plenty of times before. It started with that concept single, and it has come to this release, and here I can feel that this is a new era type of comment that he made, that he's starting a new chapter in his career as a solo artist. This feels like a new chapter. This one feels. At the same time, when I was listening to this CD, there's a good blend of rock with jazz and R&B, which, mind you, when R&B music started playing, I had to stop, gush about it, get a little blushed because of it, and then I pressed play and gushed more about it. The song is really good, but let me tell you that that's quite possibly one of the sexiest R&B songs that I've ever heard by a male seiyuu artist, and he effortlessly nails that vibe because he has that deep baritone, almost sweet, mixed with an alluring twist to it. So it sounds a bit playful, which fits really well with the sexy vibe. And since he has that low, warm voice, he can also sound really sweet when he wants to. This song has a good balance between both vibes, between the sexy and the caring, or let's say the gentle, romantic side. It's unbelievably good. But yeah, you have from acid jazz, because he starts the CD with acid jazz, he goes to a real fast-paced rock song. Catch Me If You Can is crazy fast as a song. I felt that I was really chasing someone throughout the song. It is relentless, the rhythm, relentless. I was a bit exhausted when the song wrapped up, not because the song is bad, but because the song is so intense and the tempo is so fast It was really that type of song that really will drain you, unless you are the type of person that listens to fast-paced music and you get energized. In that case, you may have a ton of energy right now because of that song. I'm the opposite. The usually fast-paced songs really drain me. Not in a bad sense, but really that intensity tires me a little bit. But yeah, I really love Kuchizuke wa Silent Peace. That's an opening track like no other opening track that I've heard in the last couple of years, I feel. It is fancy, it is jazz, but he's not being overly intense in the jazz sound, and he's not being overly purist about the sound. So this time around we have pop mixing with jazz and rock, and you have a really nice loungy acid jazz vibe going on in here. The performance itself is quite dramatic. It is Makoto Furukawa's trademark when it comes to jazz music, so it is still quite dramatic, and it fits the song, really. I enjoyed that. But you have that Hightail It as well is a really nice song that fits almost a jazz bar kind of vibe. Once again, I like when songs transport you to places, and this song for me transported me to a really warm, fancy place that I wanted more of. Honestly, I wanted more of. So yeah, that's that, and I feel that also the last track in this CD is a kind of an emo rock tune. Emo rock is something that he has been playing around a little bit. Emo rock, post-rock, he has been playing around with it for a couple of releases, and that has actually suited him pretty well. I like that his voice naturally fits rock music. You can tell that he nails that music genre, he loves that music genre. From the way he's performing, you can tell that there is excitement and passion there, which is always a positive, and ends up with performances that you want to listen to more and more again, and I feel that overall Catch Me If You Can is an amazing release. Honestly, it is my album of the year so far. Once again, there are a couple of artists that I feel are going to release new albums by the end of the year. Mamoru Miyano sounds like he's going to release a full album by the end of the year. Probably we are going to have an EP by Soma Saito, and finally it is a conceptual EP to break a bit the curse of fictions not really performing up to standard. And maybe we'll have Yuma Uchida releasing an album by the end of the year, perhaps. So there are a couple of big players that may release a full-length album by the end of the year. I reckon even Showtaro can release a full-length album, and coming from Collage, I'm expecting big things. So we may have a really interesting battle for album of the year, at least on my end. I don't know about you, you may already have different albums that you're already thinking, wow, this is the best one of the year, so shut up, Vanessa. And I have yet a ton of 2D music to check, so there may be some surprises by the end of the year when it comes to the list of best songs, best albums, and even artists of the year, I feel. But yeah, I would say this was one of the biggest releases here. The other one was, of course, Sir Vanity with Timeless. This is a compilation of songs that were featured in a theater play for Tokyo Revengers, so I feel that the vibe is also quite aggressive, quite final, there's a ton of violence in here, but a ton of emotion underneath. It's not pure violence, it's violence with a heart. And you can feel that throughout the songs. Hero and Will were previously released, but New Day was a new song for me, and Timeless was also a new song for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed all those songs. Also, I love when Kuwabara has that cheeky time for himself to bring in a bass solo, and he has a bass solo in New Day in the outro, which is a nice twist because usually you don't bring solos to the outro unless it is a guitar and you are wrapping up with the guitar screaming in the background. But in this case, Kuwabara wanted to lead the way, and he's going really deep there in that song with the bass line in a solo. R-I-R or Rir. I don't know how it is pronounced or is supposed to be pronounced, but I feel that in that song, the contrast between Yuichiro Umehara's deep vocals and Yoshiki Nakajima's insanely high vocals, which I was not expecting, mind you. I know that he can do that because I've heard him before trying that, but I was not expecting in a Sir Vanity song for him to tap into that vocal range, and I I love that a whole lot. The dynamic with both vocals tapping into completely different vocal ranges, in this case really contrasting ones instead of them both being in the middle, sounding almost like the same in unison or in harmony, let's say. In this time around they wanted to do really something more disruptive, and you have that big contrast between their vocals, which I appreciate a whole lot. So yeah, all in all, it's her Vanity. Honestly, by now, I feel that this band has been quite amazing, quite impressive as well. And they continue to consistently release good music. In my opinion, they are one of the best groups, which there aren't many at the moment, but they are one of the best seiyuu-led groups or bands in the last 10 years, by far, honestly. And in this case, there's already tons of groups and bands, because 10 years is a long stretch of time, and only recently bands have been disappearing and seiyuu units have been less of a thing. And another one was Unfolding Harmony by IDOLiSH7. So the IDOLiSH7 franchise is 10 years old. Congratulations. This is one of my all-time favorite 2D music franchises. And it is really good to see them sticking around for 10 years and impressing everyone with continuous development, growth, and a storytelling-driven music, which is something that I appreciate a whole lot. I've talked plenty of times about how I enjoy more 2D projects in which the storytelling is well interwoven into the music, and the music actually covers for those parts of the story that most people may not even check, but you listen to the songs and you can understand the overarching theme and what's going on. I really appreciate this a whole lot in the IDOLiSH7 franchise. So IDOLiSH7 brought Unfolding Harmony, and this song has a really nostalgic vibe to it, and it makes sense because we are celebrating a decade of music. We are celebrating their growth, we are celebrating their wins, because they went from being a group that was aiming to achieve so much, and they have achieved so much in the story. It is amazing how much they've grown, how far they've come, and to see them having a song like this that celebrates their growth, their journey, is something really something that I appreciate a whole lot. It's also really awesome to see that everyone is singing up to their standard. They are really sounding their best at the moment. I feel that IDOLiSH7 is peaking right now in terms of the quality on the vocal end. Honestly, it's exciting to see these, because 10 years have passed and most 2D groups have a point in which they hit stagnation in some sort, in which the music ends up being exciting, it sounds all the same, or the vocals, they don't really put too much effort, because what is working, we don't need to change it, right? So they keep on changing, they keep on improving, they keep on playing around, and the sound is getting more mature as the time progresses, because the characters are also growing older, the seiyuu are also growing older alongside the characters and us, the fans, and it's really nice to see that happening. And overall, the song Unfolding Harmony is all about that nostalgia of looking back and see how far they've come. Both the seiyuu, the characters, the story, the project itself, they all have come so far. So it is a celebration of 10 years of awesome music, awesome growth, awesome performances, and unbelievable storylines that actually grab your attention and feel real, and are, in some capacity, they could be real. Real experiences that idols go through. So I really love this franchise, and to see Unfolding, and listening to Unfolding Harmony was something really pleasing. So that's a really extra shout out here. I was almost forgetting about these two releases in June. But yeah, this is a nice shout out to IDOLiSH7's Unfolding Harmony. Fun as heck, nostalgic as well, and so much quality on the vocal end. This is a song to put a massive smile on your face. I can see this song being one that wraps up a live show, given how it feels like it encompasses everything the project went through, the seiyuu went through, the characters went through, the storyline itself. It comes full circle. But it is also a really good summary of what happened so far in the franchise. Also, we have Anthos with Echo. While I wasn't the biggest fan of Species, Echo was completely different. And this time around, let me tell you, I'm a bigger fan of the A track, or the leading track, more so than the B-side track. So sorry. So yeah, I felt that Endless Howl was much better than Past. I connected much better with the song, although it is so down-tempo, yet so intense and kind of futuristic, with a really fun vibe to itself. I was really interested in this song and gripped to the song from start to finish. I love the dynamic on the vocal end, the high notes are really fun, the rapping was on point for me, really. They really managed to have a perfect balance between the high notes and the rapping parts, and it flows seamlessly within the song. Really. Anthos' music is pleasing. What more can I say? Past was a song that actually has a dreamier, almost ethereal vibe to itself. It nods a lot to their earlier sound, I feel, even before Shun Horia was part of the group. And there's a sort of urgent vibe to itself, but I was not really feeling the song. By the end of it, although I enjoyed both songs, by the end of that song I felt, I actually want to listen to Endless Howl again, not so much Past. Still, both songs are really enjoyable, and in comparison with Species, I actually want to re-listen to this single again and again and again. So I was really excited about this. It may not have been the direction that I would have wanted for this single, but still, since we had a futuristic vibe, I was really wishing they would venture towards synthwave. Unfortunately, they didn't. That's a missed opportunity, I feel. I think that they would have suited that genre so well. But alas, they didn't explore that music genre, but still, it was a really enjoyable song, and if you like really good danceable music or EDM music with really deep bass lines and a beat that will have you jamming along in no time, they deliver that and more. Past is a bit, I feel, didn't connect that well with me by the end of it all. Still, it's a song that I enjoyed a whole lot. I'm actually going through my review. I haven't posted it on the website, but I do have my review here. So yeah, honestly, I felt this is a much better entry than Species, but Q continues to be the best entry in the Human or Doll CD series, by far. So yeah, this is all from the best of June. We talked about Makoto Furukawa's Catch Me If You Can, we talked about Sir Vanity's Timeless, we talked about IDOLiSH7's Unfolding Harmony, and we talked about Anthos' Echo. And now we are going to the next section. And Ao says, fall leaves after leaves fall. Aside from the fact I still need to check if I put the words in correct order in that title, I feel you. Like always, the B track, well, in this case, anime ending wins over the A track or the opening for me, even if I have both on my daily listen playlists. It's been a while since we've heard Anthos, just sweet, gentle and a bit nostalgic, not trying to be cheerful at that. No offense to Roughing Laughing, it was adorable too. As a side note, I did get spooked at the fact it released on my birthday in the middle of the month. I got used to first and last week of the month releases for movie franchises, but yeah, please listen to it if you're in the mood for sweet Anthos. Also, while I'm offended YouTube showed me it only today, Aoppella released promo music videos for Vedlip's Tenni Muho last week, and I might be getting re-obsessed with the Aoppella performances. Then again, Zach B is responsible for mixing, so why am I even surprised? Anyway, I think Physical is going to release only in August, but since MV is a full song, I want to cheat it and call it a May release. Well, Ao, welcome back. It's been a while since we last talked. It's going to feel like this throughout the full episode. I haven't seen or talked with you for a couple of months, so it's been a while since I saw you. So thank you very much for the comment first. I haven't checked the single because I went to Ototoy and it doesn't let me purchase the song, and it's been a bit stressful on that end. I didn't find it on Spotify, but I may need to double check it. And I haven't watched the anime because I haven't been watching anime since last year. It's been almost a year, almost 2 years since I last watched anime. So yeah, I haven't had any time whatsoever for that. I hope that the adaptation of the first couple of, well, let's say the first season of CDs in the Hanadol franchise was well done in the anime series, hopefully. But yeah, a sweet touch and If I'm not wrong, Shun Horie is not performing in that single because those CDs are really related to the fact that the group didn't have him yet in the group. So they may feel a bit weird because there's no Shun Horie in the vocals, and we are now really used to. But still, sweet music coming from Anthos. It is something that now I want to, because I listen to Species and Echo. As you can tell, I talked about those releases, and yeah, was a bit on the fence in terms of the sound, and I wanted something a tad different. Maybe sweetness is the thing that I'm lacking right now. So yeah, I will search this song again, because yeah, I didn't find it, and it was not available on Autotoy, at least for me, internationally. Even with the VPN, I couldn't purchase the song, so I'm going to try it again and see if it works. It's also good to know that they are releasing something a tad different for the anime series. Maybe it will ease in people into their music, which is good. Also, Aoppella, I saw the videos, I saw the promos, I didn't watch anything because, once again, I don't listen to previews, and full songs before albums are released are a no-go for me, but I've been craving Aoppella's music for a while. Maybe I've missed a couple of releases, I don't know if something has released in the past quarter. I haven't been on top of that, so maybe there is something that I missed that I may need to double check that, yeah. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. Vadlip really impressed me with that hip-hop take on, let's say, with that a cappella take on hip-hop music, which is awesome. And they're quite unique, but still, I want every single group to actually impress me again. Lil Happy continue to impress, and Fame also. They are my favorite group in the Aoppella franchise, so I hope that we get something really awesome from them. So yeah, thank you very much, Ao, for your comments. We are now going to dive into the June form, if I find it. Ao! Welcome again! Ao says, to nobody's surprise, Echo by Anthos. It keeps amazing me how with every preview we get I'm like, that's not my music genre, but I will give it a try since it's them, and then they make me love the things I would never look for myself. Yeah. I'm not a dance music type of fan, and I find myself enjoying dance music because of Anthos. Like always, I blame and praise the High Notes trio. The B-side track is absolutely amazing thanks to them, but also the rap duo is giving the A track the exact energy I would expect from a futuristic release that is apparently a sequel to Flashpoint. Oh, I was not expecting that. Not at all. But yeah, nice. I need to listen to Flashpoint again, but that's the one that starts with that siren, isn't it? I feel. I listen to Echo. You already know my impressions, so I'm not going to spoil more of that. I hope that people have checked that single by now, but I don't know if it is already available on Spotify, because Movic usually takes 1 month since the release to make the songs available, so maybe it is, or maybe it isn't. I actually purchased the single. That one I could purchase, I don't know why the other I couldn't, so yeah. So thank you very much, Ao, for your comments. Yeah, just like I said, they tend to impress me with music genres that I wouldn't usually follow or even listen to willingly, but with them, I enjoy. They have something about the way they perform and their whole dynamic that really keeps me invested, even in music genres that I wouldn't usually invest in, if you get what I mean. Then we have ML, and ML says, my favorite group from Unite Up, Jack's Checks, released an album, Jackpot Time. The group is a 5-member band fronted by Haruka, voiced by Masa. The other members only sing in a couple of songs, so expect a lot of pop rock, not everything though. Raise is EDM, for story reasons, from the anime second season. My favorite song is I Ison. It sounds very early 2000s, and I love Masa's vocals with those bad boy vibes and amazing high notes as well, especially in the chorus. Then Doni Demonare, which is so fun. It's the kind of song to lift your spirits with pure energy. I also really like the romantic plus summery vibe of Koi Shiose. And the band versions of the two old Haruka solos are really good as well. Mayday and In and Out, the originals are acoustic, and honestly, I can't say which version is better. I'm aware of Unite Up. I feel, yeah, I did review a song from Unite Up in the review Advent Calendar last year. I don't recall if it is from this group, if the member was from this group, but still, I am quite happy that you are enjoying the music, ML. And they are a 5-member band fronted by one seiyuu and the others rarely sing. It feels like it gives me sort of, let's say, Sawara vibes when they started, in which Toshiki Toyonaga and Yuki Ono were the only ones singing, and the other ones sometimes appeared in the chorus. So it gives me the same vibe. They may not sound the same, so don't come at me. I know that they may not sound the same. So yeah, it's really good that you have a couple of interesting songs in here. Bad Boy vibes, there's a ton of people that loves that, so quite excited to see how it was achieved. Because sometimes Bad Boy vibe type of songs sound a bit flat, or like the seiyuu is trying too hard to sound bad, if you know what I mean. So if he actually got that balance right between sounding like a bad boy and the song really bringing that vibe forward, that may be a really good one. And yeah, you have a romantic song in here with the summery vibe, which is kind of interesting. Usually summer songs are more playful than romantic, so that's a nice combo in there. And transforming acoustic songs into full band songs, wow. Usually it's the other way around, you know. Usually it is full band sounds that they try to turn into acoustic ones, or do a different arrangement that is a bit dance driven. So it's nice to see that they went the other way around and brought basically the acoustics and turned them into full band releases. I hope that you had a ton of fun with that, really, ML. I don't follow the group, I don't follow the band, as you can tell by the way that I'm talking about. I don't even know the members. I know about the project. I was not aware that they even had a second anime season. I know that they had one first season, but they have a second one, so okay. Thank you very much, ML, for your comment. And wow, now we are going to dive into the next section. Now, welcome to Monthly Choice, which I'm going to make it just your corner this time around instead of mine. We have comments by Ao, and Ao left a comment here, so let's go through that. So Ao says Alive Series Side G, Volume 4, aka Growth 4th album. I'm fully aware I already recommended it in previous years' monthly choices, but with a certain announcement done at the Guropa, the live event, at the end of May, I've been revisiting it like crazy, once more getting blown away that this thing got released in the first year of Growth's activity as a unit, and before any of the singers had any experience with their solo careers. Like, how? Supernova is still impossible, Lucretia is still amazing, Kusou no Retro is still unbelievable, and at this point I have no idea who came up with the thought to upgrade it for the 2025 Sozo no Retro version. It was already unveiled at Live, but I am not sharing any thoughts until official release in August. Also, because of Growth Party Guropa Restart series for Growth, they finally got to perform the songs live, even if shortened versions, and I cannot stop thinking about how good these are even 5 years later, 5 years after release. Toki no Hazamani and Promessa will probably never disappear from my favorites playlist. I love saying Promessa because Promessa is a Portuguese word for promise. So yeah, finding that in their music is actually pleasing. I feel that when you listen to the first releases by Growth, Solids, I wouldn't say Solids, Growth, especially Growth, yeah, you will understand that the group was already really good at the start. Even if they didn't have the skills to perform to perfection, which they now have, they were really, really good at the start. Even if people were saying, wow, this is actually pretty weird lyrical music, what the hell is that? But they were already performing really good music. Even when they had that mix with EDM music, they really worked pretty well with that. They really rocked that sound. And the songs were already pretty difficult on the vocal end. I can only imagine how amazing they are right now live. I will have to wait either for DVD or Blu-ray release of the live show, or some previews online. Hopefully they'll release a preview of some of the performances, which would be neat. I didn't get to watch the live show because, once again, I'm in Portugal, but I hope that it was quite enjoyable. From what you talked about, either you watched it, Ao, and I hope that you enjoyed it, or you had someone share that information with you. Regardless, it's good information to have. And it's good to see that, especially Toki no Hazama, that song, still one of my all-time favorites from Growth. Although I'm a big sucker for Maho no Kizuna, Toki no Hazama was one of the songs that actually, that clock ticking, once again, that's a motive within the movie releases or universe, are we going to call that? That ticking clock actually grabbed my attention, and the song itself is beautiful. Once again, please, if you can, go listen to their earlier stuff. I feel that out of all groups in the Tsuki Pro franchise, Growth has been the most consistent in terms of quality since the start, and they have been doing the most difficult music genre you could have in that franchise. So yeah, they have been nailing that since the start. Even if the voice actors admit that it was really hard at the start, I feel that they did a really good job at the start, because when I revisit the songs, they still sound good. They don't sound overly technical like the stuff they are doing right now, but they still sound really good and still sound really difficult to nail, honestly. I would never, ever dare try to nail anything like that. I would butcher anything in that, in those songs, really. When it comes to monthly choice, Ao brings another one. I think it might be a good recommendation for anybody who wants some more Kato Kazuki or Toshiki Toyonaga music. The new movie adaptation of Rose of Versailles has released the song collection from the Rose of Versailles on Japanese Spotify. I'm sorry, I forgot to check if it is on international streaming sites. You don't need to be sorry. Of course, there's a lot of tracks focused on the heroines, sung by their voice actresses, but each male character with a singer seiyuu also gets a song or two to show off. You might want to check it out if you yearn for more Kato Kazuki and Toshiki Toyonaga playing male leads, thus getting solos, duets and a group song, but Takeuchi Shunsuke and Myu Irinu each get a song for themselves too, so you might enjoy checking it out for them as well. Plus, if you wanted to see how seiyus would sound singing a Sawa no Hiroyuki song, this is your chance. Wow, 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 what a lineup. What a lineup, Ao. Sawa no Hiroyuki creating the songs? Wow. This is bound to be good. This is bound to be good, and I have not heard the songs. I do know the tone of Rose of Versailles, but I don't know how the songs would work. So, quite interested about that. Also, we have Joaquin. Welcome. It is maybe your first time here, or maybe you have already used a different username. The Visual Prison soundtrack. You've talked about Visual Prison before, but I don't think you've ever done a video on it. It has one of it, if not the most star-studded casts ever. Seriously, whoever decided to put Toshiki Masuda and Shotawa as a duo unit is a genius. Not to mention the other units, Oz and Lost Eden. Although it's not a CD, I'm most looking forward to you react or review Visual Prison and more Visual Kei in general. Honestly, Joaquin, if you know about more Visual Kei music that is genuinely good, please recommend it to me, because I've been craving Visual Kei music since Bandia Rose and Osiris, which for me, between Osiris and Medicode, those are the best Visual Kei rock groups in 2D music for me. I haven't found anything really good, I would say. I've seen and heard some attempts at Visual Kei that really fell flat to me. Magatsu Note, for example, falls a bit flat. Almost all songs fall almost flat to me. Maybe it's not really my type of Visual Kei rock there, but if you know really cool Visual Kei music, please recommend, especially from 2D groups, please recommend in this video. That would be awesome. Visual Prison. Why I don't talk about it too much? Because it has Elements Garden in there. I don't, and this is a problem I have. I don't enjoy Elements Garden's music per default. I have a problem with them since Utapri. They sound a bit repetitive, and the synths, whenever they come, they really throw me off. But I will say something. Out of all groups that you mentioned, of course, all the groups in the Visual Prison franchise, my favorite one is Eclipse, because the duo Toshiki Masuda and Shotawa is unbelievably good. Like you said, whoever decided to put them together is a genius. First, because they are close friends, so there is already chemistry when it comes to performing together. Also, they are both stage actors and they have worked together before, so even outside of anime, they have experiences working together. And also their voices complement each other so well. They both have a really dramatic style of singing when it comes to visual kei music, and they completely well eclipse. I feel this group, and one problem that I had a couple of years ago, and this might be a reason why you didn't see me reacting to anything Visual Prison, is that 2 years ago in the review advent calendar, I reviewed one song from Eclipse on video. As soon as I uploaded it to my channel, I got a copyright strike from Aniplex Plus saying they were going to shoot down my channel. So I cannot review their music on camera. I can only talk about their music like this, generally, and without anything to guide anyone. So that would be quite generic and a bit boring, I feel, for most people, because I'm not reacting on it, about it, as I'm listening to it. I'm reacting about it a couple of years since I listened to it, so it's not as interesting, I feel. But know that it is not because of I didn't want to, it is because Aniplex Plus is really strict when it comes to copyright, and they were threatening to close my channel. So yeah, I don't want that to happen again. So I'm not going to review any music from the Visual Prison franchise because of that. I'm not going to give them any spotlight when they were threatening to close my channel. But yeah, I do love Eclipse a ton. And Oz, I like the duo Shoichiba, Makoto Furukawa, but the rest of the group falls a little bit flat. Hiroki Nanami and Shun Horie fall a little bit flat within that mix. They almost sound the same, and they don't get the spotlight they deserve within the performance. It feels like the performance is all around Shoichiba and Makoto Furukawa. I can understand for story reasons, but still, that's a missed opportunity to bring everyone to the spotlight and make them sound amazing as a group. But yeah, when it comes to Visual Prison, my favorite group or band or duo is Eclipse by far. I like their dramatic, orchestral, gothic vibe. It's really my thing, and that's really the type of visual kei that I like, almost like Kamijo or Versailles. It's really dramatic. I like that. I also like the more aggressive style that Lost Eden has. But when it comes to visual kei, for example, for you to understand my baseline, when it comes to visual kei, my baseline is Gazette, the visual kei rock band, the legendary visual kei rock band. So yeah, thank you very much for the comment, Joaquin. Yeah, thank you. And thank you for watching the episode. This episode is sponsored by all the Hand That Feeds HQ's patrons on Patreon. A big thank you for the support. Next one, hopefully I'm not going to create another quarter episode and it will be a monthly one, but I don't know, I cannot promise that, but still continue participating because the episodes are not going away. If I'm not going to create a July episode, at least I'm going to create a Q3 episode, which will drop then in September, so do not worry. Either we get the monthly or a quarterly episode, so continue to participate because I'm going to check your comments and I'm going to bring my impressions as well. So thank you very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you guys soon.